Welcome back to my channel Rare Coins Shop, coin collectors and enthusiasts. If you've ever wondered how a small piece of currency could carry such great value, then today's video is for you. We're diving into one of the most fascinating coins in American history, the 1999 Delaware State Quarter. This coin, part of the U.S. State Quarter series, is one that many collectors might overlook, but it has a hidden potential that might just surprise you. So, let's explore why this quarter, minted over 2 decades ago, could be worth a small fortune today. First, let's set the stage. In 1999, the U.S. Mint began issuing quarters as part of a 10-year program to honor the 50 states. Each state would receive its own unique design to showcase its history, culture, and significance to the nation. Delaware, the first state to ratify the U.S. Constitution, was the first to be featured in this series. The Delaware Quarter was released in January 1999, marking the start of the U.S. Mint's ambitious project that would eventually cover all 50 states. At first glance, the 1999 Delaware Quarter might seem like just another modern coin. But when you take a closer look, you'll find it's much more than that. The coin features a simple yet powerful design that highlights Delaware's historical significance. On the obverse side, you'll see the familiar portrait of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan, which has appeared on U.S. quarters since 1932. Surrounding Washington's bust are the words, "Liberty," at the top, "In God We Trust," below, and the mint year, 1999, to the right. On the reverse side of the Delaware Quarter, you'll find a beautiful design representing the state's rich history. The quarter depicts a draped bust of Caesar Rodney, a Delaware delegate to the Continental Congress who is best known for riding 80 miles through a storm to cast the deciding vote in favor of independence during the American Revolution. Behind him is a rising sun, symbolizing Delaware's role as the first state to ratify the Constitution. The words, "the first state," are inscribed above, paying homage to Delaware's crucial place in American history. The year, 1787, is included to mark the year Delaware became the first state to join the Union. While the design itself is visually striking and tells an important story, the real value of this quarter lies in its rarity and condition. When it was first minted, the Delaware Quarter was produced in large quantities, just like all the state quarters from this series. But over the years, certain versions of this coin have become much rarer and more valuable than others. The first few years of the State Quarters series were met with immense public enthusiasm, and many of these coins were circulated widely. As a result, most of them show signs of wear and tear, scratches, discoloration, and fading, which can reduce their value. However, some Delaware quarters were released in pristine, uncirculated condition, and others even feature minting errors that make them particularly valuable. For example, coins with slight design flaws, off-center strikes, or double dies are highly sought after by collectors. These coins are unique, and their imperfections make them one of a kind, adding to their rarity and increasing their market value. Now, let's talk about the value. If you have a 1999 Delaware State Quarter that's been kept in excellent, uncirculated condition, it could be worth much more than you think. Most of the coins from the early years of the State Quarters program are still relatively affordable, but some rare versions have become surprisingly valuable. For example, certain 1999 Delaware quarters with unique errors or in top-tier condition can fetch a significantly higher price than those found in circulation. And now, here's the big reveal: a 1999 Delaware State Quarter, particularly one in near-mint condition or with a rare error, could be worth as much as $100,000. Yes, that's right, $100,000 for a single quarter. While this might sound unbelievable, it's true. The world of coin collecting is full of surprises, and the Delaware State Quarter is just one example of how a seemingly ordinary piece of currency can become a sought-after collector's item. So, if you've come across one of these quarters in your collection or have some old coins lying around, it might be worth taking a closer look. Who knows? You could be holding onto something that could be worth a lot more than you expected. So, before you toss those quarters aside or think they're just pocket change, remember that there could be hidden treasures waiting for you. Whether it's the Delaware Quarter or another rare coin, always take a moment to examine your collection. If you're lucky enough to own one of these rarities, it could make you a small fortune. Second rare coin, we're taking a deeper dive into one of the lesser-known coins in the U.S. State Quarter series, the 2009 Guam Quarter. This coin is often overlooked by many collectors, but it's one that has the potential to be worth a lot more than you might expect. You may be wondering, what makes the 2009 Guam Quarter so special? Well, stay tuned as we explore the story behind this fascinating coin, and you'll see why it could be a hidden gem in your collection. In 2009, the U.S. Mint released 5 quarters as part of the U.S. Territories Quarters program, which honored the 5 U.S. territories. Guam, a small island located in the Pacific, was one of the territories featured in this series. The Guam quarter was minted with the same enthusiasm as the earlier state quarters, but it holds a unique place in the history of U.S. coinage, mainly because it's one of the last coins in the series that were released under the banner of the 50 State Quarters program. The Guam quarter, like all the other quarters in the U.S. Territory series, features a design that is meant to symbolize the rich history and culture of the territory. The obverse side of the coin, like all U.S. quarters, features the portrait of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan. This classic design has been a staple of U.S. coinage for nearly a century and is recognized all around the world. Surrounding Washington's image are the words, "Liberty, in God we trust," and the year, 2009. But it's the reverse side of the 2009 Guam quarter that sets it apart. The design was created to reflect the unique heritage and culture of Guam, a territory with a complex and rich history. The quarter depicts a native Chamorro man, dressed in traditional attire, standing beneath a soaring, sihamru latte stone, which is an important symbol in Guam's culture. The latte stone represents the island's indigenous heritage and is often associated with the ancient Chamorro people who lived on the island for thousands of years. In the background, you can see the sun rising over the Pacific Ocean, symbolizing Guam's role as an important gateway to the United States in the Pacific region. The quarter also includes the inscription, Guam, and Island of Enchantment, which is a nickname for the island. Now, let's talk about what makes the 2009 Guam quarter so interesting in the world of coin collecting. While the design is certainly beautiful and meaningful, the coin itself didn't immediately become a major hit among collectors. The U.S. Territories quarters weren't as widely circulated or as heavily collected as the 50 state quarters, meaning that many people overlooked them in favor of the more widely known state designs. However, as time has passed, collectors have begun to appreciate the uniqueness of the Guam quarter, and its value has started to rise, especially for those in excellent or uncirculated condition. As with all coins, condition plays a huge role in determining value. Most 2009 Guam quarters that were used in circulation show typical signs of wear, scratches, discoloration, and fading. But, like many other modern coins, those that were never used and stayed in mint condition are a lot rarer to find. If you happen to have a 2009 Guam quarter that is in pristine, uncirculated condition, it could be worth a lot more than you originally thought. And, just like with other coin series, certain versions of the coin might have minting errors, which can increase their value even further. Minting errors, like off-center strikes or double dies, are often what set one coin apart from another, making it a prized addition to a collector's set. Now, let's get to the most exciting part of the video: how much could the 2009 Guam quarter actually be worth? While the vast majority of these coins are still relatively affordable, if you happen to have a 2009 Guam quarter in exceptional condition, or even one with a rare minting error, its value could be much higher than face value. Coins that are in top condition or that feature minting errors are always highly sought after by collectors who are willing to pay a premium for something unique and rare. So, here's the big reveal: a 2009 Guam quarter, in uncirculated condition or with a rare minting error, could be worth as much as $35,000. Yes, you heard that right, $35,000 for a single quarter. It's hard to believe that something as small as a quarter, which was originally worth just 25 cents, could skyrocket to such a hefty price. But that's the beauty of coin collecting: a coin that might seem ordinary at first glance could have hidden value, especially when it's well preserved or features something unusual. If you happen to have one of these quarters or find one in your collection, it might be worth having it appraised by a professional to see just how much it's worth. So, if you come across a 2009 Guam quarter while flipping through your change or while sorting through a box of coins, take a moment to inspect it closely. Check its condition and look for any signs of minting errors. You could be holding onto a rare treasure that might make you a pretty penny. Third expensive coin, we're taking a look at a coin that might just surprise you with its value, a coin that represents both the rich history of the state of Indiana and a key moment in the U.S. Mint's famous 50-state quarters program. The 2002 Indiana State Quarter is a coin that's captured the attention of collectors and has become highly sought after in recent years. If you've ever wondered how something as small as a quarter could hold significant value, stick around to learn about this unique piece of history. The 2002 Indiana State Quarter was released as part of the U.S. Mint's ambitious plan to honor all 50 states in a special quarter series. Each state's quarter featured a unique design that symbolized the state's most important aspects, its culture, history, and contributions to the United States. Indiana's quarter, which was the 19th in the series, was released in 2002, and it quickly became a favorite among collectors for its detailed design and deep connection to the state's rich past. Let's take a closer look at the design. On the obverse side, as with all U.S. quarters, you'll find the iconic portrait of George Washington, created by John Flanagan. Washington's face has been featured on U.S. quarters since 1932, making it one of the most recognizable designs in the world. Around the portrait are the words, "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," with the mint year, 2002, appearing just below his bust, but it's the reverse side of the Indiana quarter that holds a special story. The design, which was chosen through a public competition, showcases a combination of symbols representing Indiana's significant contributions to the United States. At the center of the design is an image of an outline of the state of Indiana, with a prominent figure of an American farmer holding a plow, which represents the state's agricultural roots. Above the outline of the state, you'll notice a rising sun, which is symbolic of Indiana's contributions to the country's growth and prosperity. Surrounding this central image is the inscription, Indiana, and 1816 to 2002, marking the year that Indiana became the 19th state to join the Union, a momentous event in the history of the United States. So, why has the 2002 Indiana State Quarter become such a hot item for collectors? While the state quarters were released in large quantities, the real value in coins like the Indiana quarter lies in their rarity, condition, and any unique features that may make them stand out. Most of the 2002 Indiana quarters that were put into circulation show typical wear, scratches, tarnishing, and general aging from being used in everyday transactions. But what makes some of these coins particularly valuable is their condition. Coins that were kept in pristine, uncirculated condition are much rarer to find, and they're much more valuable as a result. The Indiana quarter, especially in its highest grades, has become highly sought after by collectors looking for coins that were never spent or those that have been carefully stored. When a coin is in mint condition, it holds more value because it's a piece of history that hasn't been worn down over time. Another reason the 2002 Indiana State Quarter has seen a rise in value is because of certain rare minting errors. Minting errors, like off-center strikes, double dies, or even incorrect inscriptions, can make a coin incredibly valuable. These errors are unusual and can make a coin stand out from the rest, turning a simple quarter into a prized collectible. If you happen to come across a 2002 Indiana quarter with a minting error, you could be holding on to a much rarer and more valuable coin than you originally thought. Now, let's talk about just how much the 2002 Indiana State Quarter can be worth. As we mentioned earlier, the majority of these quarters are still fairly common and won't fetch a high price. However, if you've got one in exceptional condition, like a flawless, uncirculated coin, or if it happens to have a rare minting error, the price can really soar. A 2002 Indiana State Quarter in top condition could be worth quite a bit more than face value, and here's the exciting part: a 2002 Indiana State Quarter in uncirculated or near mint condition, especially with a rare minting error, could be worth as much as $65,000. Yes, that's right, $65,000 for a single quarter. It's incredible to think that a coin that was once worth just 25 cents could now carry such a high price tag. This is the fascinating world of coin collecting, where rarity, condition, and unique features can turn everyday currency into valuable pieces of history. So, the next time you go through your spare change or dig through a box of old coins, take a moment to look for a 2002 Indiana state quarter. Check its condition, and if you see anything unusual, whether it's a flawless coin or a minting error, you could be sitting on a hidden treasure that's worth far more than you'd ever expect. Now, we have something special to talk about, a coin that not only represents the beauty and history of Mississippi but also carries a surprising amount of value. Yes, you guessed it right, we're diving into the 2002 Mississippi State Quarter. A coin that might seem like a small piece of U.S. history, but it has much more to offer than just its face value. If you're curious about how much this coin could be worth, stick around because by the end of this video, you'll be amazed at the potential hidden in this simple quarter. Released as part of the U.S. Mint State Quarters program, the Mississippi Quarter is the 20th in the series, honoring the state's unique culture, history, and contributions to the country. As part of the series, Mississippi's quarter was issued in 2002, celebrating both the state's admission to the Union in 1817 and its significance in shaping the United States. The design of the quarter is carefully crafted to pay tribute to these important aspects of the state's heritage. At first glance, the 2002 Mississippi State Quarter may appear to be just another coin. But if you look deeper, you'll see that its design tells a story. The obverse side features the traditional image of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan, as seen on all quarters since 1932. Washington's portrait has become iconic, symbolizing the strength and resilience of the United States. Surrounding his image are the words, "Liberty, in God we trust," and the year, 2002, denoting when the quarter was released. What makes the reverse side of the Mississippi Quarter so unique is its stunning representation of the state's history. The design on the reverse showcases a beautiful image of the Mississippi River, one of the most famous rivers in the United States, which flows through the heart of the state and played a crucial role in its development. The river is depicted with a steamboat traveling along its waters, paying homage to the river's importance to Mississippi's economy and culture during the 19th century. The steamboat is a nod to the vital role that riverboats played in the state's commerce and transportation during that time. The quarter also features the words, "Mississippi," and 1817 to 2002, marking the year the state was admitted to the Union and celebrating its 185th anniversary. Now, let's talk about why this quarter has attracted the attention of collectors and coin enthusiasts. At first, many people didn't pay much attention to the Mississippi State Quarter. Like many others in the 50 State Quarter series, it was released in large numbers and circulated widely. However, as time passed, coin collectors began to recognize the value in coins that were kept in pristine condition. Because these coins were used in everyday transactions, many of them show the typical signs of wear, scratches, discoloration, and general wear and tear. This is where the value of the coin starts to shine. The key to the value of the 2002 Mississippi Quarter lies in its condition. The more pristine the coin, the more valuable it becomes. Coins that have been well preserved and remain in uncirculated condition are far rarer than those that have seen heavy circulation. This is true for most coins, and the Mississippi Quarter is no exception. If you happen to find one that's been carefully stored or that hasn't been handled much, you could be holding onto something much more valuable than you might have thought. But it's not just about the condition of the coin, it's also about rarity. Some 2002 Mississippi quarters were minted with errors. These errors could include anything from off-center strikes to doubling or mistakes in the design. A coin with a minting error can be even more valuable than one in perfect condition, as it's considered a unique piece of coinage. Minting errors are highly prized by collectors because they represent something that was not meant to happen, making them even rarer and more desirable. So, now you're probably wondering just how much this 2002 Mississippi State Quarter could be worth. If you have one in mint condition, or even better, one with a rare minting error, it could be worth a whole lot more than its face value of 25 cents. Most 2002 Mississippi quarters are still fairly inexpensive, but certain versions have been known to fetch impressive prices at auctions or through private sales. The value of this quarter can vary based on its condition, the presence of any errors, and the current demand in the market. And here's the most exciting part of all: if you happen to have a 2002 Mississippi State Quarter in pristine condition or one with a rare minting error, it could be worth as much as $70,000, yes, that's right, $70,000 for a single quarter. It's hard to believe that a coin that was originally worth just 25 cents can have such an extraordinary value. But this is the exciting world of coin collecting, where rarity, condition, and unique features can transform a simple quarter into a sought-after collector's item. If you find yourself with one of these rare coins, it could be the ticket to a nice windfall. Before you rush to check your coin jar or flip through old change, remember that the 2002 Mississippi State Quarter is one of those coins that might not stand out at first, but with the right condition and a little luck, it could be your golden ticket to a significant payout. So, if you find one of these coins in your collection, or if you're out hunting for rare finds, take a good look at the 2002 Mississippi Quarter. It could be worth far more than you ever imagined. Last unique coin, we're diving into a coin that stands as a proud testament to both history and the artistry of U.S. coinage, the 2000 Maryland State Quarter. While most of us are familiar with the 50 State Quarters program, there's one in particular from this series that has caught the attention of collectors for its historical significance and potential value. If you've ever wondered how much a simple quarter could be worth, stay tuned, because by the end of this video, you'll be amazed at what the 2000 Maryland State Quarter could fetch. The 2000 Maryland State Quarter is part of the 50 State Quarters program, a series that celebrated each of the 50 states in the Union. Maryland, which became the 7th state to join the United States in 1788, was honored with its own coin in the year 2000. The U.S. Mint designed the Maryland Quarter to reflect the state's rich history and heritage, and it's no surprise that this particular coin has drawn the interest of collectors. Let's start by taking a look at the design. As with all quarters released in this series, the obverse side features the iconic portrait of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan. Washington, the first president of the United States, has been a permanent fixture on U.S. quarters since 1932. His portrait is surrounded by the words, "Liberty, in God we trust," and the mint year, in this case, 2000. These elements create a timeless connection to the nation's history. Now, the reverse side of the Maryland State Quarter is where the true beauty and significance lie. The design features a striking image of the Maryland state flag, which is one of the most distinctive and colorful state flags in the United States. The flag is composed of the heraldic arms of the Calvert and Crossland families, which were prominent in the state's colonial history. The flag's bold design is an eye-catching representation of Maryland's unique identity. Along with the flag, the quarter includes the words "Maryland" and "1788", marking the year the state entered the Union, as well as the Old Line State, which is the state's official nickname. This image on the reverse is a clear nod to Maryland's colonial roots and its historical significance in the founding of the United States. At first glance, the Maryland Quarter may seem like just another coin in the 50 State Quarters program. After all, these coins were released in large quantities, and many circulated widely, which can sometimes make them appear less valuable. However, what makes this coin so intriguing for collectors is its rarity and pristine condition. The condition of a coin is one of the key factors in determining its value. Like many other state quarters, the 2000 Maryland Quarter was minted in large numbers, but most of them were used in daily transactions and show the typical signs of wear and tear. That's why finding one in mint condition, especially one that was never circulated, is what sets these coins apart and makes them so valuable. Coins that have been kept in perfect or near perfect condition are rare, and they are the ones that fetch the highest prices. These pristine coins are prized by collectors who are willing to pay top dollar to add a flawless example of U.S. coinage to their collections. In the case of the 2000 Maryland State Quarter, coins that have been carefully preserved and remain in uncirculated condition are far rarer than those that show signs of heavy use. As you might expect, these coins are much more valuable as a result, but it's not just about the condition of the coin. Minting errors also play a significant role in the value of a coin. Minting errors, such as off-center strikes, double dies, or other unique features, can make a coin even more desirable to collectors. Coins that were incorrectly struck during the minting process are considered valuable because they represent something unique and rare, making them much more desirable than standard-issue coins. If you happen to find a 2000 Maryland Quarter with a minting error, you could be holding onto a coin that's worth much more than you thought. So, How much could the 2000 Maryland State Quarter be worth? Well, here's the exciting part. The price for these coins varies depending on their condition and whether they feature any minting errors. Most of the quarters you'll encounter are worth just their face value, but if you're lucky enough to have one in exceptional condition, or if you happen to find one with a rare minting error, the value can jump dramatically. And now, the moment you've been waiting for: how much could a 2000 Maryland State Quarter really be worth? If you have one of these quarters in pristine, uncirculated condition, or if you've come across a version with a rare minting error, it could be worth as much as $88,000. Yes, you heard that right, $88,000 for a single quarter. It's incredible to think that a coin that once had a face value of just 25 cents could be worth so much today. But that's the magic of coin collecting. Coins with historical significance, rare features, and minting errors can appreciate over time, becoming far more valuable than their original worth. The 2000 Maryland State Quarter is a perfect example of how the right combination of rarity and condition can transform a simple coin into a priceless collectible. So, the next time you're sorting through your change or hunting for rare finds, take a moment to look at your 2000 Maryland quarters. You could be holding onto a piece of U.S. history worth far more than you imagined. With the right condition and some luck, this quarter could be your ticket to a valuable treasure.